want to be the prominent speaker. I don't know how to do that. It's not possible. I'm gonna try like hiding all you guys. Anyway, while I'm figuring that out, welcome to D&D. Thanks for joining me on this adventure. Actually, some stuff did happen, so I'll have to give you a real good recap here. Cassie, Audrey, we played a session here without you. I kind of mentioned, right now, I have some quests that are very this is your character's main quest. Point, but it's sort of Kyle's main quest kind of focus. But this also ties in really nicely to your other two characters, and there's definitely a main quest element for Lorna to recapture with saving Mr. Northwood. But Kyle's saving Abraham is kind of the main goal that you guys haven't embarked on. So just to give you guys a full recap here, in fact, I'll start a ways back. Lorna and Triticor met with Elrond in Ironhaven in the Greater Or Union, and delivered the Crystal Princess from the Druidic people on the edge of the Union and the Forest of Forget-Me-Nots, basically the southern borderlands, east of the Poison Lake. And that was a long journey. You received letters from Kor and others at Ironhaven, and you met with Kor, the Knight of the Word, in Jordan. He brought a crew of 10 Knights of the Word, and you departed together, leaving Ironhaven, and you have essentially reached the western borderlands of the Or Union and begin to enter the Errigoldian Empire, as it were, to the west, old elven lands, although the borders are these wild woods, dangerous and scarcely traveled. You search with Kor and the Knights of the Word for the Commander Abraham and any other people you can free from Ozar. A strange golden-domed city in the midst of the Ponifoins, the pine forest. Triticor choked out a strangely aggressive bear a couple nights ago, and you guys, the night passes, all the watches. And what also happened while you were away, Audrey, they left the camp in the Pine Wood. They scouted around and decided to head north following some goblin tracks that Lorna found, or Triticor, and they made it through the forest. There's this fire forest and this burning wood to the north with smoke and falling trees and ashen zombies. Many were tired and wounded, but Lorna and Triticor pressed on, leading the way. Basically down, you found like a stone slab at the end of this ashen forest and entered a tunnel below. Found an altar. The tunnel was below an altar table, rather, of stone, and some like etchings. You made it through gusts of flames that came through stone statues of elves and strange goblins. You defeated a horde of goblins in the main chamber and a giant fur-covered monster. After resting, you guys explored, found a giant eternal flame, which burns there below the ground. Much treasure was collected in the final chamber, and as well as like a magic lamp of gold, which Triticor collected and threw into a fire, and Lorna retrieved and gave back to Triticor. So you guys do carry a lot of gold and jewelry out, and of course you travel with Kor and the other Knights of the Word, and there was a great expedition into the depths of the burning wood. Following the goblin tracks, you defeated many goblins, found this lamp and this eternal flame and much gold, and carry much out with you, retrieving your horses and fleeing back into the pine forest. Left off, essentially, if you do have a map, and I think I might here. Oh, yes, this might be useful if you don't know what is going on. Is that even visible?
It's pulled up in my quest line. I have it on Discord right here.
Audrey might not have access to this. I might give you access to this in a moment. Let me know if you can see anything here.
Well,
is this useful, Audrey?
I'm looking at the map right now. So we were going through the burning wood, and we found that cave, and it looks like we ended up at that X in the Pinewood.
So basically, you're going to be closer at this point. That was like the dungeon. You figure probably where the X was.
Yeah, so we'd be coming back out into the burning wood, wouldn't we?
Yeah, so you're exiting the burning wood. Essentially on the river there is what we're going to figure here. You're kind of at the Orientan wood near there. You're at the edge of the pine and the ashen forest, essentially. You're not exactly sure your whereabouts, but shortly in the morning, the knights will find the Orientan wood, this massive river, not too far off to, the west, essentially, the southwest of your camp. So you do know you're somewhere along the Orientan wood and the ashen wood and the pine woods as well. So you're in the thick of the pine woods, essentially. The ashen woods is to the northeast.
Yeah. So, I say we just follow the river north.
Yes.
I actually had some quick, mostly mechanical questions here. Did we surround me in a sphere of invulnerability and have me just kind of like silently go with you guys? Did you guys just kinetically leave me in camp, which I'm actually chill with if that gives me an opportunity to make a few more checks to try and master these spells that for the life of me I can't master?
You sort of went along and you are not invulnerable. You got tired, but you made it out okay with most of the other knights. Well, all the other knights made it out.
Okay.
Is essentially the story here.
Do I actually take a level of exhaustion?
At this point, you've rested, so it would have gone away.
Okay.
And in fact, you guys have rested, so you can use, a health die to regain that health you said you were missing, you guys, because you're going to have a good night's rest here.
That's just a D4, isn't it?
And this is essentially your first rest that you're going on, so next time you take a rest, it will take more than just like one night. This will be like your short rest, as it were.
And spell slots are only regained on long rests, so theoretically,
you wouldn't have really used anything though. So you should
actually, I only had 2 level 0 spell slots when we ended our last session. So I'm happy to just have those 2 level 0 spell slots, unless you think I probably at least used at least one spell.
No, you didn't use anything, so you're the same as you were.
Oh, okay. So still not great, but
yeah. You were like, what the? That was crazy. That's what your character was.
Joseph, do the thing.
So I'm rolling hit die, just one for my rest, right?
You should know how
or
many.
Or not hit die.
Yeah, yeah, it's a hit die.
3D.
You should roll. You should know how many hit dice you have left. You'll regain them all at a long rest, so you should be max probably. Well, you don't regain them all, but you're probably max at your hit die. You'll lose a hit die though to use this, and you'll get it back when you do a long rest. So you can use, all 3 if you want, or just one. Obviously, is what you need probably.
Yeah, just one. Okay, cool.
And then you have 2 left, obviously. And then anything else as far as like upkeep there, you guys?
No, I think we're pretty close.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, I think I'm good too. I think I want to head north up the river as well and just follow it to Ozar. I think it would be the best path.
Yes, definitely. I guess in passing, Core might mention, as you guys are talking about the great Elven River in the Ponafoins, they might remark that it hails from a dark magic in the woods and the mountains between the 2 warring kingdoms, and leads inevitably to Ozar. So if we do go north, we will head there, of course. And there's a long, mysterious sea beyond that. That's where the kingdoms of peace once stretched out thousands of years ago. I guess 1,000. But yeah, that's basically Elder Farleong. Kyle may remember the dark woods where the river hails from, to the south, essentially, of which Core speaks. But he would also mention that we might be nearing Ozar, and before heading there, we may want to secure another location. I don't know if you remember the Pine Grove, the inn at the riverside, a strange wood elven town, not too far from Ozar, about a day's journey. Last I remember, it was raided, though, by Errigold, so we might not want to head there, but I think it would be wise to secure that or another clearing. We don't really have a great clearing tonight. You guys kind of similar to how you were sleeping the last night that you guys left the Iron Haven. It's like you're scattered all about. It's not like a good clearing where you can have a good encampment, as it were. So that's kind of what Core wants. But you guys are in charge. If you guys want to go off to Ozar, you also can. Core is just suggesting that we find a safe haven to flee to after we leave Ozar, as it were. But yeah, that's kind of what they would suggest, as well as we do carry a lot of gold with us. We should stash our spoils, so that only lends to that other clearing idea.
I actually very agree with this. We are going into a dangerous city. We don't want to lose our spoils. It would be nice to know we have somewhere to go if things go sour.
I agree. Let's make sure the gold is here when we come back.
Yes. Well, I think the surest way would be to find the inn at the riverside. It was once a secluded town of secrets, but maybe, I imagine, controlled by the Errigold, the army who invaded, if you do remember Triticor and Lorna, when we fled through the Flaming Woods and lost Abraham, of course. But otherwise, we could just find any clearing. Would do. Might be simpler.
Yes, Core. I agree. I feel like this would be the best and right way. That inn you speak of.
Yes. It would be the only real settlement. I imagine, by the size of the Ponafoin River, we would have to backtrack to find the Wood Elf town.
I think it would be best to go somewhere that we're already familiar with if we're going to be looking for a safe place. So it would be worth the backtracking to get there.
Indeed. And I must apologize as well. Core will say to you guys, I should have stressed my conversation with Abraham, the commander of the Honorable Battalion of the Knights of the Word. He did send me that letter over a fortnight ago, almost a fortnight and a half, I suppose. Made an arrangement, I thought necessary, but I hope not to delay any longer and find him in Ozar. So yes, let us be off. They were, they communicated through Messenger Hawk once, but they haven't talked since. So there is some intel that we can use to invade Ozar, but maybe outdated at this point. But it seems, trusting Triticor, the young master monk's instincts, as well as Lorna, the elf, then, we made off with great loot, so all at your command. We can head off down towards kind of where we think we can just follow the river west, as it were, and you guys can make off for the day. How would you guys like to arrange your travels?
I'd like to take up the rear.
What?
I'd like to take up the rear of the expedition.
Okay, and then I guess I'll be up front as well, just like we were before.
I think it will be good if we take roles we're familiar with.
Lovely. So basically, sounds good. Similar to traveling to before. So Cassie in the middle with the knights, all bubble talking. You guys kind of scouting out the extremities there. Lorna in the rear, and Triticor leading the way. So Triticor, I'll have you make a survival check. Lorna, you can make kind of a perception check, I suppose, as it were.
As we're going, Cassie is not familiar with this landscape nor the people here, and I imagine she'd maybe turn to the guards or fighting men around her and start kind of prying for information about where we're going. Is it hostile to the or I'm very confused about where we're going. I'm so sorry. Is this a hostile city we're sneaking into? I'm afraid I'm not very good at the stealthing thing. I'm not very good at blending in.
Yes, indeed. This is our objective, to rescue one of our men. I wasn't sure as to your experience. I might thought it would be best to find a safe place for you. The city of Ozar itself is quite dangerous, but perhaps we could use your talents in another way, at least to secure some place for us.
I trust Tredicor and Lorna as far as my accompanying you, and I will certainly do my best. And Joseph, of course, is always a great help in such situations. Is the entire city completely hostile? Are we headed into... Do we have a plan?
So, yes, not to fear,
Uh,
my lady. I have led many expeditions to rescue many men.
Oh, of course.
However, I mean, actually, last time that I did journey to Ozar, it was already somewhat under siege. It seemed there was a revolt there. I was not a part of, but it made my job especially easy.
I didn't mean
Well-
to at all undermine your abilities.
Not at all. What's that, Triticor? Master Monk?
I just have some concerns. I feel like we could definitely get rid of some of this weight and this gold. But I do have a mission to save Abraham. He is of the most importance right now. So perhaps we stash and we dash and head our way to Ozar.
Of course,
Indeed.
let's rescue your friend.
Yes, perhaps following the Gablin tracks was quite profitable. Perhaps not the worst idea. Although the souls we've saved are nil to date. Our journey must go on. You guys can make it through, to Ozar, or to the Pine Grove, rather, to stash everything. Did you guys roll survival and perception? What do you guys roll?
So for the survival, I got I got 6.
For perception, I got 10.
Amazing. Oh, let's see here.
I rolled a natural 1 on perception.
Amazing. Cassie, you can do a perception as well.
14.
Amazing. So, I mean, as, the caravan is just kind of going forward, you're all on horseback, as it were. Triticor is out there leading the way, and, there are several knights in front of you as well, as Joseph. You guys are all actually talking. In fact, the Knight Corps might be mentioning something about the monarchy of Riversdale, just as, you seem to actually see something ahead as Triticor is walking past into, through this thicket of pine trees and intense aromas in probably the late afternoon, perhaps. You guys travel for some time. There's some large white birds, like some geese, that are flocking about near a pond at the side of this small river. Well, it's not a small river; it's a pretty big river. But yes, unbeknownst to you, to Triticor and Lorna, you guys just kind of stumble past this pond where a large flock of geese is resting, and kind of trample through, disrupting them greatly. Many of them, honking and gonking, start getting clearly annoyed at alerting you guys and flying towards you, Triticor being in front. What would you like to do, Triticor and Cassie?
I imagine that Cassie would have like seen these and gone like, "Oh, are those swans?" And then like no one else sees them. Swans are highly aggressive, and so are geese. Um, and I imagine she probably just like duck and covers on her horse and like just kind of kicks her horse forward to like run away from the swarm of angry white geese.
Well, if you run forward, honestly, you'll get further into it. Do you want to run backwards, or do you just want to make it through it? Because that might be the best option still. It's up to you.
If she's in the middle of a bunch of people and they haven't started running yet, I imagine she probably just hunches down and like covers her face, and kind of shrieks as they fly towards her.
All right. What about you, Triticor?
I don't see them until they're like on top of me, I feel like.
Yeah.
And so let's see, what does Triticor do? I just actually start just riding hard, like charge, I guess.
Amazing. Well, let's see here. Triticor, some geese are definitely going to try to attack you. And, I mean, the first one that charges at you is going to hit you for sure. And, you know, basically it full body smacks you and, you know, flaps at you with its wings, dealing, you know, a total of, you know, 2 damage to you.
I got 2 damage to a goose.
The blunt force, as well as its beak and teeth, it bites at you. So 1 from both of those things, I would say. A little bit of a concussion. It's a big fat bird, and it just knocked you in the face, and it falls flat on its ass off to the side of your horse. And I'm sure all of your horses are kind of galloping out of the way here. But some more birds might try to attack you as you guys flee, unless you intend to do anything else. Anything you're going to do in particular, Lorna?
I'm definitely gonna giddy up my horse along and try to go fast. I'm
All right,
gonna
awesome.
also kind of try to like put my hands up a little and hope my horse just has a sense to take me through.
Awesome. And I assume Cassie is also trying to kind of go a little faster at some point to go. Any other strategy you're employing with the horse, Kyle? I'll have you all do kind of animal handling.
Oh crap.
Oh
But
gosh,
tell me
yeah,
your intention as well.
all of our horses are. Oh god.
It's a 17.
I can't read that. I got a 16.
I have a 7 to control my spooked horse and try and go in a straight line.
Oh my goodness.
I haven't had the best luck with Buttercup either.
Yeah, Buttercup is cursed.
She's just upset. She's a wonderful person. I love her so much. She's not a person, but.
Well, you're safe from the initial geese attack, Cassie, but your horse kind of, I guess maybe, I don't know, strays off into the woods a bit.
Yeah, horses tend to spook sideways, so that's not the sidestep.
Lorna, though, there is a bird that manages to get some good attacks on you. Oh dear.
Entire bird face.
Where did my dice go? Yeah, good. Try that again. 2 damage to you as well, Lorna.
Ouchie. Can I try to make a little stab just in retribution to it?
You certainly can.
Okay. It's a 16.
Oh yeah, you can damage it. What's your damage?
For my...
How are you attacking?
With my dagger, so it's 1d4 plus 3.
Amazing.
Oh wait. Yeah, wow, that is. Haha, it's 3 plus 3, goose.
I mean, you can
head.
rip this. You can cut this bird in half if
I
you
feel
want.
like it is
Damn.
bird to face and chop through.
Chop right through its face. And like halfway down its neck, it just like flails back.
This, holding my dagger.
Well, you know, other than that, you guys get away. Cassandra, you're a bit off in the woods here. You clearly know which way you need to go, but make another animal handling check for me.
Calm the fuck down, Buttercup.
There's a couple birds who like try to stray off after you. Oh,
That's
they're
a
able to hit you.
well, fudge. That's a 9 as well.
All right, so your situation doesn't necessarily improve. You're just going maybe perhaps a bit further away from the caravan, if anything. And this bird definitely does hit you. I didn't realize your AC is so low. I was like, oh, that doesn't hit.
Dude,
You'll take 2 damage as well from this freaking bird. Another
Oof.
bird with just massive body slam, massive bite to the neck or whatever.
Yeah. Cassandra is gripping onto the mane of Buttercup and crying at this point. That's a third of her hit points.
These are definitely the biggest geese you've ever seen in your life.
I don't like birds anymore. I thought the swans in the garden when I was growing up were really pretty. I don't like them anymore. Just make them go away.
Well, yeah. What are you gonna do now, Cassie?
I mean, the getting off my horse seems like a bad idea. So I guess I make another check to try and push my horse in like the general direction of other people.
All right. How do you want to go about it? Just
I
pushing her
think-
neck.
Well, I'm kind of grabbing onto her mane right now, so I think I'm just gonna grab the reins and pull her back so she starts dancing backwards and then kick her forward. Trying to get her at least in the direction I want her to. And even if she continues to kind of spook and sidestep, just kind of trying to lead her in the direction I want her to go. I'm not the most experienced horsewoman, as my rolls are definitely betraying. That's a 14, though.
All right, I'm going to make that a survival check as you are able to kind of,
Still 14.
rein your horse in, get off in a different direction. And yeah, you'll be able to, safely navigate your way back to the caravan. Taking up the rear, you'll see Lorna. How are you looking when Cassie finds you in the back of the pack there, Lorna?
Like some little feathers, like in my hair, and like blood on my ears, and like on my shirt, but not my blood. I more have like 2 black eyes from the bird hitting me, so I'm looking kind of rough. Just dazed too, like. Bleh.
All right. What about you, Cassie? Oh, you're muted. Oh, Cassie, you're muted.
Sorry. Her braid has come undone. Her flyaways are everywhere. She probably also has feathers in her hair. She's definitely bleeding. She's covered like tears stained. Losing control. Like your horse spooking is no fun. And she's like trying to like as she's reached you, she's like kind of tried to hold her posture up, but it's very obvious that she's like just finished crying and is like still kind of going, and like tries to come up to you as dignifiedly as she can. Well, that was an adventure.
Beautiful this time of year. Just also like.
Yes.
Dazed on the horse.
Yes, it's quite beautiful. I think Buttercup was enjoying the forest. I wasn't. But that's fine.
Amazing. Well, yeah. Anything else you guys would like to add as you make it to the Pine Grove with the knights in the late night, I suppose, late evening? Well. You guys get near it, I would say. Actually, on the outset there, you can kind of see the town itself. That's where you're at. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so we have to have our plan on getting inside. Do we know if this city is guarded? Cool.
So actually, you're not at Ozar yet, but you are at the Pine Grove, and that is definitely a valid question as well. So, let me find my notes here, actually. Let me add real quick before you guys get too close. Actually, never mind. I'll say that for later. Let me just find my notes here.
And also, do we know what the city actually looks like on the inside? Like how large it is? and
So this,
where
yeah,
they are keeping.
sorry, where you're what?
Where they're keeping Abraham inside the city.
Oh yeah, so Core can tell you, Triticor, that he did have some intel from Abraham, who managed to send him a letter shortly after he was captured.
Oh yeah,
And they were held in a dungeon in Ozar, in the western, actually in the eastern half of the city. But it's pretty old intel, so it's all we've really got to go on when we get to Ozar. But first, real quick, actually, when we get to the Pine Grove, kind of the inn at the riverside, this is a much smaller wood elf city. So there's like some like small, there's actually some like clay houses and like some wood houses and some houses just like built in the trees and mushrooms, as it were. It's pretty scattered. There's a market in the woods that you guys have shopped at, Triticor and Lorna. The main feature of the city that you notice, it's just a small town, is the inn at the riverside. It's a large wooden inn, and like it's partially clay as well. It's got like some nice decorative designs upon it. So you remember staying there with the knights as well when you were rescued from the goblin caves. But that is the feature of this wood elven town. However, you guys definitely will notice that there is a bustle there of imperial elves from the west, the Errigoldian army. You may remember, mentioned here, they raided this town. They definitely have a presence here. It looks like a lot of men. So securing it might be quite difficult, it would seem, just as you guys take a gander. But you guys can also make a perception check to gain additional insight as far as that goes, without kind of,
see.
being seen,
Yeah.
keeping your distance.
I
You can
think
stealth
I'll
closer
do-
as well.
I think I'll stealth closer and try to see what I can see or hear, see if maybe there's something, because I am an elf, like that I can tell more from the culture or like the vibe, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you guys can all make a stealth check then. Lorna, what are you guys gonna do? Triticor, Cassie.
Ho ho.
So with my perception, I rolled a 14 of the city, and I feel like I do recall this being one of our first stops quite a longer journey ago. I do remember seeing like a potion shop here, and where we could get supplies.
Indeed. There was also a traveling like circus that you like won a tournament at.
Oh yes.
Back when that was, definitely when it was controlled by the wood elves. Now it's controlled kind of just by the high elves of the empire. It's kind of the vibe. So yeah, with a decent perception though, you can definitely tell there's perhaps 100 men at arms here of the Elven Errigold army there that have occupied the town, and they've built some encampments as well, kind of in the market area that you recall.
It must have changed quite a bit since we've been here last. We must be very careful treading through here. It might be dangerous. They might know who we are.
Yes, they will definitely be hostile towards the men, the humans.
I rolled a 23 for mine.
You can definitely like stealth your way over there and take it as much of a gander as you want, Lorna. What are you gonna check out?
What does it look like they have in the encampments? Like, can I see in? Am I so stealthy that I could like walk like amongst them? Just do a little quick see how it is. If it's gonna be.
It definitely seems like everybody is in uniform, so that would be kind of your only problem.
What kind of uniform? Like guard
they are
uniform?
in like a guard uniform, specifically like red plate mail, with like swooping like curls on the helmets where their ears. They've got like a little bit of armor over like their elven ears as well. So
Okay.
Fancy.
Are there any religious looking? Like, are there any religious, like, people from the Word? Because I still have my robe, so I'm kind of searching for that to see if maybe that would be a way to get in.
Oh, that's a good question. I would say there's definitely something that looks like a kind of religious setup. They have perhaps some similar or some familiar icons, like little idols that you imagine, might be have some religious purpose. It's not specifically something you're familiar with. Certain things are familiar. There's definitely like some incense that they burn in this one tent that you might be able to catch a glimpse in from, just outside the woods there.
Mm-hmm.
So there's definitely a religious thing, but it's not quite the Sixth Church of the Word, although there's some similarities for sure.
If Cassie can make a perception check, which I rolled an 18 on, for the likelihood of being able to just walk into the inn and order a hot toddy, which is really what she wants right now. Like she's mostly just gauging like what is the likelihood they can make hot toddies for me, and what is the likelihood that like I can go in there and order one without like getting in trouble in any way. She's like one track mind right now.
I mean, with such a good perception check, I will say there is steam rising out of the chimney, and it looks like they might be roasting up some fine pastries. However, Core is going to say to you, they will definitely attack you on first sight, my lady. We should keep our distance here, at least for now, until we make some sort of a plan. And I'm not sure that these folk eat hot toddies either.
Very well.
Let's see here.
Very obviously disappointed.
Okay, but I mean, also with such an amazing perception check, Cassie, you actually notice a bit of movement, perhaps off in the woods as well, and it looks like it's definitely not the red armor of these elves who are occupying this town. Something green moving in the woods, but it seems to be perhaps a human, an elf, or a wood elf. You would think, not like these high elves here. And there's some distinction, but you definitely saw an elfin figure hiding behind a tree, not too far away.
What goes there? And she like kind of calls attention to it and points in the direction of the thing she spotted.
Yeah. All the other knights can hear you, and Tredicor as well. Cassie, though, is off near the town where they wouldn't, of course, be able to hear you. Sorry, Lorna is off by the town. Cassie's the subject.
I believe in you.
And yeah, so the other knights are taking a look there, but the figure kind of drifts out of sight as this happens.
Bother.
But you know where it was. What would you guys like to do?
I feel like it is actually very dangerous for us to even consider going into town. I'd say we have two options. We go around the town and continue on our way, or follow the man in the green and find out more information about him. Perhaps he can lead us through the town.
We were coming to this town to have a place to hide your gold, right? Can't that be done on the side of the road in a hole?
Yes,
Man. Sorry, what's that, Tredicor?
well,
Hide it in a hole, you both say?
Yeah.
Very well.
Yeah.
This could be done.
Not all. We keep enough to keep us afloat. Yes.
I would like to know who that figure was, and I don't know if they were spying on us or looking out of the town like us, but I would rather we were not followed, I understand. I think Cassie's kind of going to nudge Buttercup in that direction.
Okay, yeah, you can trot on over there.
Just very innocently, hello?
I mean,
I'm sorry, I
definitely.
didn't mean to scare you.
As you go off on your own, there's this very small kind of grove there, Cassie, that you see. You don't see the figure at first, but you do see some very small, almost like what you might think. It's not a fairy. It's like a gnome, or like a brownie, something you might imagine. A small, very small blue human, like a garden gnome with a funny hat. You see a few of them talking.
Hello, I'm sorry, I don't mean to disturb you, good sirs. Did you see a figure walk past?
Miss, are you here to help us in Glawfor and save our city here, the trees where we live?
Oh, are you in danger?
All the gnomes kind of take off their hats, pull out their big puppy dog lips, and look down. There's this one that kind of little baby that kind of trots out from behind him, pulls his hat down and says, "Yes, miss. Our home's all but destroyed by the elves. We don't know where to go."
Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay. I'm tearing. Yeah, she starts tearing up just a little bit at the absolutely adorable and heartbreaking scene. I have friends. I don't know if they were planning on going into town, but she looks up on her shoulder and tries to wave anybody who can see her to come join her. I'll do anything I can. But did you see that there was a figure that walked past? I was trying to follow him.
Triticor, you can definitely see. And are you going to follow?
Yeah, let's go down this rabbit hole. Let's see what's with these guys.
See what's going on. The gnomes will tell you. Our friend, a wood elf, Glawforin. I suppose you can come and speak with him. And eventually you two can be united with Glawforin, who is immediately excited to see you and Triticor as well. You might say, Triticor, do you remember me? I suppose you have not seen the wizard from the far reaches of Eldaron.
No, afraid not. We have not made it there. We have had been quite on a journey since we last met.
Indeed.
Yes.
And you see Glawforin is this a lovely wood elf with long blonde hair and his green robes and whatnot. He does appear though to have some fresh, perhaps burns upon his arms and face, Triticor, that you might imagine. But other than that, he greets you as well, milady. It is good to see you. Do you travel with the knights?
I travel with Triticor, and his companion, as well as my bodyguard Joseph, who didn't follow me. He really should have followed me. I don't suppose you know somewhere I might be able to get a hot toddy. I'm afraid my mother used to drink them when she was stressed, and I'm afraid I have quite the craving for one right now.
We might be able to cook something up. But the camps are scarce hereabouts. I was preparing the last wood elves and gnomes here to perhaps lead them to retake their town, but their numbers are scarce. Triticor, do you have the knights with you then? Why have you?
Yes, I do, Glawforin. Though we are numbered, we left with 10, not including Lorna.
Indeed. Well, I have also journeyed into the Great Fires, Triticor, and found an interesting location. Stone slab, and defeated a massive fire demon, although it left me quite bested. I have all but recovered just recently, so it is good to see you. Of course, I still seek to save the Elder Wood, but regardless, I want to hop over and see what Lorna's doing over at the Elven camp, inside of the settlement at the Pine Grove. You had a good look around. There's definitely that Elven, or that religious tent. There's a lot of other men at arms. They've got various weapons, and you can perhaps as well glean the insight that they control, of course, like the town hall. You imagine there's, in fact, you might recognize one amongst the elves as the innkeep, the former innkeep, Thoranius, who once magicked an oxen skull or something of the sort. And he was imprisoned, but he's been released. You imagine many wood elves might be imprisoned here now, since control has shifted greatly. But yes, there's many men. Anything else you'd like to do here or see?
Can I catch his eye at all, like to speak with him, or not really? I just know he's there.
He is amongst the men. You could definitely draw his attention. He's interacting just with the knights, just as their allies. They seem to have freed him from the prisons, you might imagine. These red guards, but you might not be able to draw his attention. You might draw more than just his.
Yeah, then I
but you
don't
could
think I
certainly
want
try.
to do it. No. I'll just make a mental note that he's there. Do I see, like... Let's see. Do I see any armories?
Yeah, definitely. There's some large tents where they keep arms and, armor. And then, other goods and foods. There's, various tents for everything. Really, you know where everything is as well, so.
Yeah. True.
In theory, here, you get a real nice look.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, from relative safely, just on the edge of the woods there. So yeah, anything else you'd like to do or see or I don't know.
Are there guards at this, like at the city gates?
There's not necessarily a gate. There's like some small ramparts, some small scattered fences that are spiky, made of wood. There are guards throughout, keeping watch around the city that you'll of course hide quite deftly as they make their rounds, kind of around. It's a small town.
Okay. I'm just gonna take this knowledge back. I feel nervous. I'm feeling quite nervous to try to go in, even as an elf. Just seeing how guarded it is, and not knowing the religion, so I can't really play that to our advantage and use my disguise. And my other thought was, maybe I'll steal some armor, maybe I'll kill a guard and steal their armor off their body and then take it and try to get in. Who knows?
Yeah.
But I feel nervous, so I'm just going to go back and talk to Tredicor.
Awesome. You definitely catch up with Kor and the other knights who will hail you. But we'll hop back over to actually Tredicor, Cassie, and Glawforin, and some gnomes hanging out in a clearing nearby. What would you guys like to talk about? Was there a question that you asked? Let's see here. Any other questions you had for this strange elf, Cassie, or these gnomes?
I think Cassie has definitely dismounted Buttercup and all of her disarray, and has knelt down on the ground so that she's maybe not eye level with. I don't know how big these gnomes are. She's probably not eye level with them, but she's leant down as much as she can to her level. Especially this very small one, and is just kind of fawning over the smallest of these gnomes, while Tredicor and the elf talk nearby, and so she's listening in. But it's kind of just adoring over these very small creatures.
I am still talking to Glawthorn, and I respond to his question if we had men that would be able to help from the word. And I tell him that Kor's there with the rest of our men, and we are more than willing to help take back your city or town.
Indeed. Well, in total, we have as well only 10 fighting gnomes and perhaps 20 wood elves among us, with your 10 knights and perhaps a few others. It would be an upward battle against this legion of, I don't know, some odd 100 high and drow elves. All of them, no doubt, some level of mastery at swordsmanship and warlocks. It was a difficult battle without you. We're grateful to have your help. You may as well notice the green clad elf. His tips of his ears are actually cut off. So, but you guys can head off and make a meeting with your knights then. I suppose.
Yeah. I suppose we should put a plan together for how we enter.
Indeed.
I say. Oh, well, I'm talking to at least Cassie about this, and going back to meet up with Lorna and Cor.
Yes, indeed. You guys can all rejoin, together quite easily, and Cor and Glothorin will greet each other as acquaintances, and Cassie, you'll be introduced here to everyone, as well as Glothorin, this green-clad elf, and perhaps these gnomes who make themselves scarce in the crowds. Perhaps most of the humans don't actually really notice them. But Lorna, you definitely see some of these strange brownies. What would you guys? Make your plan. Whatever you'd like to discuss.
So, Cor, this is the plan that I believe that would be best for us and Glothorin's units and men. I say we take a small, sneaky team in at the dead of night and start a fire and cause chaos. And then that's when you and the Glothorin's men charge in, cause complete chaos.
Okay.
At Ozar?
It's at the Pine Grove. It's
Oh,
actually
wow.
a smaller town. Ozar will be a much bigger city so Cor might
No, I
say
know
it's
where
good
we
training.
are. Just wondering if that was the plan.
Oh, indeed.
It's just to get rid of the occupation of Pinewood.
Are we not worried about them calling for reinforcements from Ozar? It just takes one man.
Tis about a 2 days journey, or a day, I suppose, on horseback.
I'd say we find somewhere secret to bury our gold before we try to storm the city. But once we've secured that, I'm ready to cause chaos.
Very well. Yeah, you guys can, stash your gold. How do you want to go about that? If that's what you can do.
How far away are we from any small cave or a really big old tree that's not too close to the walls around the city?
So there's a decent amount of, big old trees about. There's small pines and, big old massive pine trees in this forest, and, a host of other trees. You do know about a small cave that is less than a day away, back to the east, I would say, where you once fought a very large troll, Lorna, and saved Mr. Northwood, although not his brother. And then you guys went to Ozar after that, so there was that clearing, you remember, but that cave.
So do any of these trees have a hollowed out spot, maybe from woodpeckers or just being sick or diseased? Because I would just put my bag of gold in there and keep enough in case I need to buy supplies.
Make a perception check.
It's a 13.
I'd say you find maybe one or two, like hollowed trees, but they're pretty small. You can definitely keep some stuff in there.
Could I fit all my gold except like 100 gold pieces? Or 50, I mean?
Yeah, I would say you could amongst them.
Okay.
You could do that.
I think I'll do
Excellent.
that and then mark on my map where this is outside of the inn at Riverside.
Yeah, I mean, honestly,
Ish.
I think you'll be able to find it. Quite in tune with nature yourself. So, what about you other
Well-
guys? What are you gonna do with your great loot? I mean, being an elf, you have a spiritual connection with the trees, honestly.
Yeah, but I'm also paranoid because I don't have the best memory.
Yeah, Triticor or Cassie, are you guys gonna just bury your gold in a hole on the side of the road?
Yeah, I think I am.
I have
Amazing.
gold.
There's some gold that you guys took out. I would say, Cassie, you got a good stash of gold actually from that dungeon that you weren't aware of. So honestly, you've got like 30 gold and a nice piece of jewelry as well that you can sell.
Cool.
And you could perhaps stash some of it because it is heavy. It's actually a decent amount of gold and a very fine, very heavy like a piece that you have as well, like of jewelry.
I forgot. Oh, sorry.
It might be like like a crown that you have found. So I would say like a very hefty one.
Yeah, let me write that down. I think I'll ask this. Chotoko, do you mind if I stash this crown with your gold? I'd like to keep the rest on me.
Of course. And I think I forgot to mention to you, Cassie. If you remember, I do have this lamp. Perhaps I should introduce this to Glockhorn. Perhaps he might know more about this magical item.
It's worth a shot. I certainly can't identify it any more than you can.
Very well. Put your crown in the hole, and let's be on our way. We have things to do.
Yeah, I mean, that's quite lovely. Are you guys gonna? Okay, I mean that's great. Anything else you'd like to add?
That's it. I feel like after we bury our stuff, I want to go talk to Rothmore again. Put our agenda together.
Yeah, I would definitely say, if you show Glafforin the map or the lamp, he's not particularly going to have much insight as well. All of you know it's magical, pretty easily, which, Glafforin would confirm. Anything else you want to tell him about the lamp, I suppose? Like, what are you going to say to him?
I don't know. I guess I told him about our excursion into the tombs under the slate into the tunnels and killed a bunch of goblins and found this with the eternal
Indeed.
flame on.
An eternal flame. Okay. Yeah, definitely some interesting, stories that make Glafforin ponder. He will tell you that he also traveled to this location many days ago and fought a great flame. above the surface. He did not descend into the caverns as you, for he was badly wounded. But he is interested to venture there, perhaps, and see this great flame you speak of. And, see if there's treasure remaining. I think there is. You guys carried out as much as you could. There's a lot of gold down there. So that definitely interests him. But yeah, he gives you that tidbit. He also will remind you that he has a journey to help his sick, an ill friend, which you met, who spoke to you in an ancient elven language deep in the heart of the Elder Wood. He will allude to this. That's why he wanted the Council of the Elder Wizard, who might be able to help against this dark flame. But you guys can definitely stash your gold and attack in the dead of night if that's your plan. Anything else you'd like to add?
I have. My symptoms are getting worse. I'm not going to be able to participate fully. I'm currently mostly blind and having a hard time forming sentences. So I'm going to go ahead and check out and get myself some tea. You guys go ahead and continue to play, you blurry blobs of friends.
Awesome.
Sorry for bailing on you.
You're awesome.
No, you're
problem.
good.
Hope you feel better.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
I mean, do you want to throw in any spell there when you first attack?
I don't have much. I just have my chill touch, so.
All right, I'll give you a chill touch there. But yeah, I hope you have a great night.
Yeah. Have fun.
I mean, we're going to wrap it up soon here. But bye. All right. Yeah, hopefully she's feeling better. But yeah, honestly,
I'm ready for chaos. Or
we can
like
go ahead with this battle because the mage is gonna probably attack with a spell at first. But how would you guys? Sorry, go ahead.
I feel like we would make Cassie stay back anyway, just because she almost died from a goose, and she screams. That's what I'm going to tell. I'm going to say, for your safety, we think you should stay here. And then aside to try to crying, I'll say, and we don't need screaming on this mission.
Honestly, it would be safest if the princess did stay behind. I agree. And you are correct on the shriekiness.
I mean, all the knights want what is safest for the lady, and however, she does insist upon preparing a candle ritual here on the outset of the pine trees, and once you guys give the signal, she'll send off an attack and then flee to safety.
Wow.
With her, bodyguard, Joseph, the knight who will protect her as well. So.
Does she get the hot toddy?
Not yet. The mystery of the hot toddy remains.
Okay.
Maybe one day we will have a hearth. Anything else about how you guys would like to proceed?
I say in the dead of night. Lorna, do you like my plan of causing a fire to cause destruction and chaos?
It's the best plan you've ever had, and I'll just stealth off ahead at that to make sure it's safe.
Well, I think I actually have quite a bit in stealth as well, so I feel like you and I can sneak in with Core maybe.
Yeah, stealth together.
Yeah, because
Core might say you guys are much stealthier, but he will wait
OMG.
nearby for your signal for everyone to attack as well.
It's a nat 20 for me, so it's a 20. Wait. 4, it's 24.
Core sneaks in a little bit with you guys, further than the other men. But you guys go ahead farther. Sorry, what was your strategy, Core?
Oh, I was just wondering what she was rolling for.
Oh, stealth.
Oh, stealth. Okay. I guess I should as well.
Yeah.
What is that? 15.
Amazing. So yeah, I would definitely say Lorna has the sense that she's able to sneak furthest and closest safely. You guys won't be getting caught, but you might be a little bit further back. You guys can definitely make an attack though, and kind of reveal yourselves at any time. You can sneak up, kind of, I would say, on the backside of one of these tents, Triticor. There's men within, or elves rather, and there's other elves on the other side where the encampment is. You can definitely, get up to the side of the tent and kind of peek and see some guards passing. And, that's basically the situation. There might be 3 men inside this round tent and a host of other men around. Sometimes a pair of them will pass by. Lorna, you could probably sneak like up in there for a second before you're caught. Anything particular you guys both want to do here? I guess Lorna, you first.
Are there any structures I could make it to that are made of straw? Let's put it that way.
Straw. I would say yes. There are kind of there's some clay huts that have straw, like lined out throughout the city that you recognize. There's also tents that the knights have set up there, the occupying Errigoldian army. There's many straw roofed buildings as well that some of them they seem new, made of stone and straw.
Can I tell which tents have soldiers in them?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much most of the tents have soldiers in them. You also know where all the tents are, so if you want to go to a certain tent that has armor in it or something.
I want to go to the tent that has the high-ranking officers in it.
Yeah, you definitely know where that is, kind of towards the back, and still a little bit in the middle, I would say, of the encampment. Perhaps on the far side, it's like a rectangle shape. You can definitely go to there. I would say there's at least a pair of knights in every tent, but you can make it there, and you can actually go in there. At that point, you imagine, people are going to notice you.
Wait, I'm not going to go in, though. I'm going to go around to the back and firebolt it and then disengage. Or, dash away. Stealth back to where Kyle is.
Yeah.
Or Dreadicor. Is he here?
Yeah, he is here. He just wants to.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, he's, you're further in there from him, but you can do that and get back to him, I'd say.
Oh, okay.
You don't need do you roll to hit with Fireball?
Yeah, it's 1d10.
Yeah, you just roll damage.
Okay. Oh, it's an 8. Is it on fire?
Oh, yeah, you light this thing on fire, and shortly after, the elves inside rush out. So Lorna has lit this tent ablaze and ran back over to you. What would you guys like to do now? Triticor?
Seeing that the distraction has been caused.
Oh, sorry, you're muted and your camera's off. That's also Burrow. Can't hear you. What were you going to do, Lorna?
I'm going to tell Kyle that...
Triticor?
Triticor. I'm going to tell Triticor that I targeted the high officer's tent, so we probably don't have a long time, but we could create other distractions by going in the opposite direction of the first fire.
I say we start another fire.
I'm down.
Yes, Lorna, I see that. I say that we continue to at least cause the biggest distraction that we possibly can to give our men more time to come in and attack with us.
Okay.
So,
send off another couple of firebolts if you'd like, Lorna.
Well, what's going on? How are they reacting to that other fire?
The elves rush out. There's some other elves rushing that way, some other guards. Essentially, they're like, what's going on?
What is the church structure made of?
It's just a tent, like most.
Yeah, I'm firebolting the church too.
Awesome. Where would you send? Are you doing a third fireball? It's probably all you could do for now.
Just a second one for now, I think. Because I have to roll to hit.
Roll damage.
Well,
you'll hit it.
7.
And you set some good fires that, instantly kind of pick off and take up, the majority of those tents and cause some havoc for sure. With the elves rushing out, looking perhaps the wrong direction. Much of them they begin scouting about though to see, hey, see what's going on. We're under attack. Yeah, what would you like to do now, Tricor?
So I feel like we're still like in our kind of like stealth mode, so we're like in between tents, trying to evade these guards as they run back and forth. I wish, or I'm waiting for a guard to run past our hiding spot, and I want to trip him with my staff and attack him.
You can absolutely trip him as he's running by, and you'll see this elf as he just hits his foot into your staff, and his helmet begins to come off, revealing his spare skin, his pointy ears, and he kind of falls on his face, rolling over onto his back as you make an attack.
Yes.
What are you
So
gonna
as he falls to the ground, his helmet comes. I go up and I do one quick jab right into the face.
Amazing. I mean, you're gonna hit him. Let's be honest. You'll have advantage. You can roll your damage.
There it is. That is 6.
That's a pretty good punch to the face. I mean, you probably
Yeah.
will knock him unconscious. Definitely bloody nose. Definitely some black eyes there. He kind of just like keeps lying there. He's like, some stars in his eyes. He seems like he's alive but unconscious. It would definitely be your takeaway. And there's definitely a guard right there as well who was running next to him, turning around. He's like, "Hey, what's that?" Pointing right at you. So I mean, you guys.
Can I do my second movement?
Yeah, you can.
I have my like my 2 movement. What is it? Unarmed movement. Yeah. So since I punched this guy and his friend next to him was is he pretty close to where I'm standing at?
Yeah, I would say he's just like 5 feet away or so.
I run up and I do a flying air kick right into the chest plate that he's wearing and try to knock him down.
Amazing. Yeah, go ahead and roll to hit.
That's still another unarmed. So that is 15.
Okay, yeah, you'll hit him.
He's hurt.
Let's see. One more. So that's another unarmed. I got 4 in damage.
Okay. A decent blunt strike to his chest, knocking him back a little bit. He's staggered, and there is like another knight who's running towards you, another elf who's actually carrying like a big spear and just like charging at you that you see as you kind of turn around. Lorna, what are you gonna do?
I'm firebolting. Oh, wait, hold on.
You only got 1 second to think.
No, I know. I'm gonna shoot the spear guy with an arrow, and I'm gonna aim for his face neck area.
All right, roll to hit.
It's a 5. Or wait, no, sorry. I rolled damage. Let me roll the hit.
You can keep your 5 damage if you hit.
It's a 19.
Yeah, you could shoot this guy kind of in the little gap of his armor around his neck, perhaps, I would say.
How does he react?
Did decent shot. Let's see here. You rolled 5 damage.
Yeah.
It looks like you definitely hit him, and the arrow seems to stick into him, and he, kind of takes a knee for a second. You definitely halted his run towards Triticor, kind of saving him perhaps in the moment here. There's a host of other elves around though who will be trying to swing at you guys actually as this unfolds, and many people are drawing attention to you.
What about the fire?
Lorna, you can describe as you dodge some swings of some swords, perhaps, maybe some other attacks. Anything you want to do as you're dodging deftly?
I want to, as I'm dodging, I want to try to get the helmet of one of the guys that we just knocked down, if I can. Pull it off him and put it on me, if at all possible. I'm trying to assemble armor as I'm getting fought. I don't know why. I just think if I can, then I can pretend to switch sides.
Yeah, you can definitely turn around just dodging this sword swing. Another elf is actually going to send out a firebolt that you're able to kind of jump past and dodge as well, grabbing this helmet, donning it quite easily. Triticor, one of the elves though is taking a swing at you with a sword as well, and will get a good slice into you for 2 damage.
All right.
Says, the invaders are here. Everyone, found them. And there are a legion of other men. You've, incapacitated a couple of them. And at this point, you definitely hear Kor, charge, from the background there. And a great bolt, actually, of this icy chill darts out from what you imagine is Cassandra's ritual circle nearby. And this, in fact, very large hand charges in and deals damage and freezing some of the elves nearby, actually. But yeah, the knights are rushing in behind you and taking up arms against these men, as well as Glaphorin on your right side, Triticor, some other wood elves, some of which you might recognize. There's actually a shopkeeper there. He's just wielding a staff, trying to fight. There's some other brownies and stuff that are coming in, bopping some guys on the head with some sticks. Yeah, how would you guys like to go about this? There's elves surrounding you at this point. You guys are going to have to fight.
Can I pause you real quick? Your camera's out of focus.
Mine?
Yeah, it's really blurry on your face.
Not really sure how to fix it.
Okay, then we can just keep going.
Yep. Let's keep going. Okay, how are you going to attack, Triticor?
As I see Blackthorn and his men coming in as planned, I immediately pick up my staff once again, and I swing, and I try to hit the elf that just stabbed me by hitting him straight in the jaw.
Okay. Yeah, awesome. Go ahead and make your roll to hit.
A 12.
So with a 12, the elves will be able to dodge out of your way, cursing you. Anything else you're going to do on your turn?
As he's cursing at me, I decide to run and tackle him to knock him to the ground.
Seems reasonable. Yeah, you can roll to hit for that as well, just like a melee attack.
Yeah. I got a 5.
There's chaos all around. Woo. You got a 5. You just dodge roll past him as he kind of turns to the side, and with this ominous elven ancient tongue, sorrows. This bolt of lightning he actually sends out, hitting both of you for 1 damage of electrical shock, as well as many of the other knights in Glaphorin nearby. And some of them recover and go off to engage with this particular elven mage. But there are many other elves taking swings at you from many sides, many of which you're able to dodge, Lorna and Triticor. But Lorna, how are you going to defend yourself?
I am gonna do Firebolt, but I'm gonna try to like spin in a circle to see if I can hit. Like, I don't know how long it lasts, but see if I can kind of just like burn a few people as I go by them.
I will allow it. Go ahead and,
Should I roll to hit, even though that's not really a thing?
yeah, roll to hit, and also you'll roll
fancy?
damage, because you're going to hit at least one person.
Yeah. Okay, it's a 15. Should I roll more than once or just that?
So just roll the damage once.
Okay. It's an 8. Wait. Yeah, it's an 8.
All right, awesome. Honestly, you kind of managed to sustain some flame from your hand for a bit, but the first guy you hit with the blunt of this fireball, which does deal a good, strike against him, turning his steel plate red, and he kind of drops to the ground. And a couple others are thrown back a little ways from you, but perhaps not really damaged necessarily by your flame spout there. Anything else you can do on your turn?
I think that's all I'm going to do for now. I'm going to also just try to keep I'm going to draw my sword just so it's ready. So it looks threatening.
Okay, yeah, definitely. I would say there's a couple elves who are sending out bolts of lightning and fire and taking their swings of their swords and spears at you. And they begin to actually send off a volley of arrows your way as well, as you hear, fire! And there are a host of arrows that come down all around. It's pretty much impossible for you guys to dodge, but I will let you attempt a dexterity check here.
Okay.
A dexterity save.
14 plus 2, 16.
Okay, cool.
I got 19.
Oh, nice. So you guys are able definitely to dodge the blunt of these arrows. However, you will still both get hit by one stray arrow, which will deal 1 damage to each of you and definitely, impale you. So you'll have an arrow sticking out of you now. In your limb, I would say, your leg or your arm. Probably your legs. You guys got arrows in your legs.
I used to be an adventurer like all of you. Took an arrow to the knee.
Oh man, that was
amazing.
Amazing. I love Skyrim. Well,
okay, so yeah.
What are the armies doing?
Yeah, how much chaos did we cause?
A bit of chaos, although it's settling out a bit. There's still ambient fires burning. It definitely seems like the army is a bit disorganized. This red elven army that you're attacking. The knights are invading alongside you, and kind of watching your back a bit. But you guys are being surrounded by the red army quite quickly. There are a host more men than you, at least 2 to 1. You guys will get surrounded here. And, you've already taken out several men, but you're still outnumbered. Honestly, though, it might be a good place to wrap it up for the night. Anything else you would like to add real quick?
I think the only reason I didn't die is because I stole that helmet, so the arrows, didn't fully kill me.
Oh yeah, some arrows definitely hit your helmet. That was amazing. What about you, Triticor?
I think I'm gonna save what I am gonna do for when we pick it back up because I have something I do want to do. But
Awesome.
a little extravagant.
Perfect. Well, sounds good. Well, thanks for playing, you guys. And yeah, that was an epic battle, an epic journey here to the Pine Grove. A pretty short session, but yeah, thanks as always
Still
for playing.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will see you guys next time.
All right. Sounds
See
good.
ya.
Role-playing game. I'll
Bye,
see you.
Kyle.
Bye.